Hello fellow Gwent players! Today I want to talk about the new expansion that is coming out on October the 2nd. Iron Judgment is the name of said expansion. Now before we talk about the expansion, we have to look at this trailer because this is arguably one of the best trailers that CDPR has put out for Gwent, and I think it would be a shame not to react to this. I've seen it more than once already, but I don't think there's going to be anything wrong with watching it again with you guys. During this, I will be pausing it and explain a few things and even show some revealed cards that have to do with the content that is happening on screen. So I'm gonna interrupt the trailer from time to time. Now, if you want to watch the trailer in full length, without any pauses, without any explanations from me, check out the link in the description. It is the trailer link for this expansion. So yeah, let's just start with this. Alright, so we got some card arts revealed. Dude, the production value is so good on this.
One must remain vigilant.
Oh. Now, who could this guy be?
Take advantage.
Some Skellige cards here.
Speak of strategy like chess. Yet beasts need no such thing to dominate.
Some pretty good monster art we see here.
We must invest in our arms.
Got the Redanian Elite. Azur. Now here's where I'm gonna pause it. And this is where the thematic theme of this expansion is sort of explained or like shown. Now, for those of you who have not played Witcher 1, this guy is the bad guy in that game. And Radovid also appears quite prominently in Witcher 1. So I do believe this expansion is very much based around Witcher 1, but most of the characters that already appear in Witcher 1 are already in the game, such as Ada, Vincent Meis as well. You got Yavin, we got Morin who appears as well. Kalkstein as well is already in the game, so... But there will still obviously be a lot of cards that haven't been in the game already that appear in Witcher 1. But I do think the main theme of this expansion will be Witcher 1. So yeah, and this Azur premium showing pretty much proves that.
Fail unfairly. Our foes will not hesitate to bear their full strength.
Got some Nilfgaard. Now the thing is with Nilfgaard and Skellige, like they barely appear in Witcher 1. They're just mentioned. And very, very slightly mentioned. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Nilfgaard. If they're going to use just characters from the books or from the games and just use them as the Iron Judgment expansion. And with Skellige, just use characters from the book or from the games yet again. Because like in Witcher 1, these two just don't appear at all. So yeah, let's just continue watching.
And neither should we!
Oh, look at that. That is the premium triple art that I like to see. We have Zoltan Shive and his crew. Now, Zoltan does appear in Witcher 1, but his crew does not appear in Witcher 1. They just appear in the books. This could either be a Scoia'tael trio or a neutral trio because Zoltan does not have too much affiliation with the Scoia'tael, and his other guys, of course, don't either. So I'm actually interested whether this is going to be a Scoia'tael trio or a neutral trio. I hope it's going to be a Scoia'tael trio because Monsters already has a trio. I would like Scoia'tael to also have a trio, so yeah. That would feel pretty cool.
Bow before your rightful king.
Got the monobrow. Alright, so this is where we go. They even say it right now. Armor mechanic is back, but I'm going to go one frame back here to see it more clearly because here we have armor. Now armor is a new mechanic added to the game. This is not a status, this is just an additional number given to cards. And we can see that even cards like the Arrakis Spore, Ice Giant are also given armor. So I'm guessing a lot of cards will be given armor in this expansion. A lot of cards will be changed with the way numbers are worked. And I have a feeling that Gwent wants to go into a very engine-based play style now where control is only given to by spells, and that kind of kills off control cards, which is kind of sad, but We don't know if that is actually going to be a hard effect. Now, we can also see that a card here has bleeding. Now, what bleeding does is it does not affect armor. So this does only affect the strength of the card. Meaning if a card has bleeding, it does not lose armor at the end of the turn, but it loses a point. And yeah, let me just explain how armor works in general now, because I've just been talking a lot about armor. It's pretty much just an additional number that does not add up to the points that you have on your board. So if you hit something with 4 armor with 4 damage, the 4 armor will be gone, and the card would just be on its base strength, or if it was boosted, on its boosted strength. It's not like Shield, where you have to hit it 4 times for the armor to actually go off. It actually is just a number. It's just an additional number that doesn't give extra points on your card. And that's pretty much armor explained as well as it can be for the moment. So pretty much all of these cards on the Northern Realms side of the board are going to be new here. These are all new cards. This guy's new. This guy is doing damage. And yeah, here we have some more safeguard your allies. We got Foltest against Eldain. Pretty good matchup for Eldain because of Crushing Trap. Okay, I shouldn't be talking about this actually. But yeah, you can see these guys all have armor. And yeah, pretty much that's all there's to it. We got 2 new cards here, by the way. A bunch of new cards, actually. So yeah, you can see this is a pretty damn good animation. I want to see that animation again because I'm going to be doing a lot of work with this animation. I'm looking forward to working with it. It's going to be a bit tough with the masking and everything, but I think I can get some crazy like montages done with it. So like drumming with the drums and everything. So yeah, just like looking at this nice animation. Looks pretty cool. Oh, and then the hot armor for the damage. And yeah, here we have another status. This seems a bit ridiculous. Now this status is called Defender, and this is where I'm going to reveal the first card that has been revealed to us. It is exactly this card. You can find the revealed cards on the GWENT website. Not all the revealed cards are there right now. There are some on Reddit that are not on the website, which I find a bit weird. But there are also some cards that aren't on Reddit, which are on this side. So I'll be switching back and forth between the two during this video. So the card that we saw was Cave Troll, which has the Defender status. Now, Defender status, as you can see in the video, is basically like a row effect that makes the opponent only be able to target this card on the row. So this card's pretty damn strong, but I don't think this card actually has 5 armor because that would be a bit broken. They just made that for this trailer because if this card had 5 armor, it would have to be like a 15 provision card because it would be actually busted. Well, why would this be OP at 5 armor? Well, this thing is that you can only now target this card on this row, basically. This entire row is now protected by this one card that has the Defender status and is basically just like a protector for all the other engines, like in this case Vran Warrior, which you want to protect, obviously. We also see a new card here, which is like a larv or some sort of disgusting creature. And yeah, you can see Ansei is trying to kill this, but he can't. And yeah, that's pretty much the trailer. Pretty damn good stuff by CDPR. I really like the production value on this thing. It's a very well animated trailer. I really like this part with the Defender. It's like very well timed. Like with the, you see how the troll, his animation, like he goes down and then he kills the Anseis. It's a pretty well timed little play there. I don't know if he used masking there or not, but you never know. So could be just a very well timed little clip there. So yeah, but you can see that this row effect has sort of disappeared, which is kind of interesting because I think this is only like for 1 turn. This might just be for 1 turn. I'm not entirely sure though. There's still a lot of things to be discovered here. And I'm actually very unsure about most of the things that have been revealed to us so far. So don't take my word for everything that you're gonna hear in this video. So now that we've seen the trailer, we can now go onto the Iron Judgment website to look at the cards that are revealed on this website. So as I've already talked about Cave Troll, it gets the Defender status. As I said, this card will now only be able to be targeted. I don't know how long though. I don't know if it's forever or just for one turn. Or if it just needs to be damaged once and then you can like move on for other things. I'm not sure. So don't count my word on this. I'm not sure about this Defender status. It seems a very strong status though. Maybe this works better in Northern Realms than Monsters, but it's good that it isn't really that present in Northern Realms. Maybe there will be some Defender cards in Northern Realms. We don't know yet, but for the moment, this is the only Defender card we know, and it's a pretty damn strong one with Cave Troll. Alright, so next card will be Dwarf Berserker Barricade. At the end of your turn, damage self by 1, then damage a random enemy by 1. Now, I think Barricade is a status that is only activated if the card has armor. As I said, don't take my word on it, but I think that's exactly what it is. So I think this card gets 4 armor or 5. So you have like a 7 for 4, which is pretty damn strong, actually. I mean, this is very likely a 4 provision card, and it's a pretty decent one. It's actually very, very decent. Now, the problem with this website is that the armor isn't actually shown on the cards. That's pretty bad, actually, because I don't actually know if this actually gets shield now. Because when they revealed this card in Challenger, I actually thought this had like 4 or 5 armor. Around one of the two. But yeah, this card seems a pretty good proactive play for Scoia'tael. It's a dwarf, so it works well with the dwarf archetype. The random damage is a bit bad, but it can get you some places. Like, it's an interesting engine. It's like a limited engine, which is something that I was actually really hoping for was going to be brought up, because some of the engines just sometimes snowball a bit too hard. So having a bit of a limit on like low provision engines is actually kind of good. So yeah, Dwarf Berserker is a pretty okay card. I don't think it's going to see a lot of play though, because the current dwarfs that we have are already pretty damn good at 4 provision. So maybe if this were like an elf, it would be playable, but it's a dwarf, so kind of sucks that it's the dwarf. And yeah, but I mean, armor works better with dwarfs. I mean, it makes more sense than with elves. Moving on to the next card, which is a Skellige card, Stunning Blow. Pretty brutal card art, I must say. And the card reads, damage a unit by 4 if it has armor, increase damage to 7. Now this is most definitely a 4 provision card, and I think this card will see a lot of play. I think this card is a very, very powerful control tool even in the current meta. I think people would just play this if the card has, but with the armor increasing it to 7, this card could be auto-include, honestly. 7 damage on a 4 provision card could be pretty detrimental in a lot of situations, especially with things like crack. This card will definitely see a lot of play. And yeah, I think this card's a pretty damn strong 4 provision card. Greater Brothers. Now this is where the Witcher 1 part comes in. This is a syndicate card, and this is basically the end of Witcher 1 is like they just like mutate a bunch of dudes because they tried to steal the Witcher mutations, so they're just mutating a bunch of dudes into these big dudes, and you're gonna have to fight a few of them in Witcher 1. These guys are pretty damn big, and they're pretty damn scary, but this card reads Insanity Fee 2, gain 2 armor, exposed, destroy self. Exposed is basically if the card loses its armor, it has this ability, this one-time ability. Whereas with Barricade, it's not like a one-time thing. I think you can always give this armor back and reuse the ability that it has. So as I said, I'm not sure about all of these effects. There's already a lot of like words that are new to me, so please don't judge me for not knowing all of the things that are being revealed right now. These cards are already on Reddit, and in Reddit they are also shown how much armor they have and how much provision they are. So this card has like 4 armor, and you pay 2 to gain 2 armor. Now you're paying 2 coins for something that actually doesn't give you any points. So this card you can only like play as like a late card, a very late card, or you can use Insanity to give it another shield, so it's going to be like an 8 for 7, which is still pretty okay, but then I mean 6, no one wants to actually deal 6 damage to just get rid of an 8. That's kind of pointless. So yeah, I guess this is mostly going to be used as an 8 for 7, because you're not going to want to use this Fee ability to gain 2 armor, because what you want from a Fee ability is you want points. And yeah, I think this card's not too great. It's all right. It's good in a short round, but other than that, it's not too fantastic. The next card is going to be Knickers. Pretty weird name. It's a 3 with 1 armor. This unit may raid the battlefield to 8 you in battle. This is a pretty random card, but it will come out of your deck at some point during the game. This is not like completely random where there's games where it just doesn't show up. This will come out of your deck regardless of when. This could be like the last card to come out of your deck. And I feel like that's a pretty strong ability to actually like at some point sort of like gain 3 extra points for absolutely no reason. It's like a Roach that's not as reliable as Roach, which kind of doesn't make sense because Roach is unreliable as hell, and this doggo seems pretty reliable. But you can't judge Roach, and you can't judge this card either because he's a good boy, he's a good pup. And I mean, this card's actually kind of decent. It's a pretty good thinning tool plus additional tempo with the 1 armor. I don't know if the 1 armor is necessary, but I don't know if it's a bad version of Roach or a good version of Roach. Like, it messes with your mulligans regardless, but still, it's thinning and it's extra tempo at some point during the game. So I don't know if this card will see a lot of play, but it will definitely see some play in certain decks that rely on points. This card is good points. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this card. It's a pretty interesting ability. Alright, the next card is Redanian Elite. Now this card used to exist before Homecoming, then they got rid of it, now it's back. We also see some Redanian shields on the Dwarf Berserker art. And yeah, this card has a deployability of boost self by 6. Exposed, reset self. As I said earlier, exposed is when this card loses its shield. And I mean, this card is bad. I mean, this card is just bad in my opinion. This card is a 7 for 5, yes, but it runs into resets like Bloody Baron, which every Northern Realms deck pretty much plays. And it runs into Peter, which some Nilfgaard decks play. So this might just be a 1 for 5 in most cases. But it's still a 7 for 5 at the same time with 4 armor. So this card is kind of a mixed bag right now for me, because I don't know how badly people want to use exposed or how easy it is to expose certain units. I'm thinking this card's okay, if not just meh. I think this card's meh. You just play poor effing infantry and you get like sort of the same value as this card. The next card is Anfein Crossbowman, which reads, deploy damage an enemy unit by 2, barricade damage a random enemy by 1 whenever you play a soldier. Now barricade, I think yet again, is as long as this card has the shield. And I mean, this is a pretty alright engine actually. Like, you might have to deal 2 damage to stop the engine, but you're dealing 2 damage onto the armor. And that's 0 points for you actually. You're not really dealing any damage, but you're stopping the ability from going off. That's what makes armor a lot interesting, is because there are no points in armor, in getting armor or removing it. There are no points in it, which is why it is actually such an interesting mechanic added to the game. And this card might not see play. Maybe 2 armor is a bit too little. Maybe this card is too easily exposed. So I think, yeah, this card's alright. I'm not sure about what soldiers they're going to add to Nilfgaard, but with the way the current soldiers are, this card seems alright. I mean, the problem is, of course, yet again, the damage a random enemy by 1. You can't line up everything perfectly all the time, so I guess they're going for a more random route on the engines with this expansion, it seems. And yeah, let's just see what the next card is. The next card is Living Armor. This is a neutral card with 10 power, 10 armor, worth 12 provision, and the ability is basically that this unit's power is equal to its armor. Now this card is insane in Monsters and Nilfgaard because Monsters has Caranthir. Now Caranthir spawns a 1 power copy of a unit from your hand and summons it on its row. Now I'm not sure if this ability is going to stay the same, but for the current ability, this is a 13 if you also have living armor in your hand. And Alchemist, because swap the power of 2 allied units. This never damages. This goes through shield, so it's probably also going to go through armor. So you can actually use this to swap the power of the living armor with some like a low point unit and get some crazy value out of this card. Probably like a 10 potential. So yeah, this card might change. If it doesn't, it's actually going to be auto-include in every Nilfgaard deck with living armor. But for the moment, living armor seems a very powerful card and a very interesting card at the same time. So lots of combo potential, and yeah. The next card we have is a Skellige card called Raiding Fleet, and its ability is give an enemy unit bleeding for 4 turns and play a random bronze ship from your deck. So let's look at the bronze ships that we have here, and to be fair, all of them are actually pretty decent cards to get out of this card. We have Dimum Warship, which is a 6, so you have a 10 with the 4 bleeding. I mean, it takes a bit of turns, but you still get 10 points with this. Then you have Dimum Light Longship, which is a good engine, as well as Ancrate Longship, and Tidecloak Hideaway, which could have some good potential, but it depends on your hand. But you don't have to play this card. You're probably going to be playing these 3 cards, and we don't know what other ships are going to be coming out in this expansion for Skellige. So I do think that this card is actually a very good card because this does thin your deck. I mean, the random factor is a bit iffy, but it's still okay because you're not going to play this as your first card. You're going to play this around like 3rd or 4th turn, or like even 2nd turn if the opponent plays like some big unit. And yeah, this is actually an alright card. I actually don't mind this card too much. This is a pretty decent card. I want to see what they do with the pirate and ship archetype in this expansion. It seems that they're gonna be doing some tweaks to it, and this is definitely one of the tweaks that I will definitely commend CDPR for. And the last card that has been revealed to us is going to be Tempering Armor. It's a Scoia'tael card, boost an allied unit by 5. If it's a dwarf, also give it 2 armor. This is a nature card for some reason. I mean, it makes sense why it's a nature card, but still, it doesn't seem very nature-like. I mean, Melting Armor would have been more appropriate as a name if it's going to be a nature card, but Tempering Armor, I guess, that's what they went for. And it's another dwarf synergetic card. Alone, it's a 5 for 4, but it boosts, so boost is always a bit worse than damage, but still, it's a 5 for 4 that gives 2 armor and could keep like engines alive if they're low on power or something like that. But it seems alright for a 4 provision card. But as I said earlier, in the dwarf archetype, there are some better 4 provision cards than this one, most definitely. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up this Gwent Iron Judgment reveal reaction thing, whatever it is actually. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe for more Gwent content, and I'll see you soon. Yeah.